Sonny and Cher downloaded into my mind this morning. Just wanted to let you know. So good to see you. And I've been on the phone so much this week, as you can imagine, as we have all been in conversations as spiritual leaders, with colleagues, with friends, people navigating all sorts of stories, all sorts of internal emotions. And what I want to begin with really is to honor what you feel when you feel it. And one thing I won't be is a minister that starts with the it's all good, because it doesn't necessarily feel all good sometimes, does it? And as some of you know, my journey with losing my family of origin was a very heavy journey. And this weekend marks the anniversary. Those that have lost a loved one, you know, when the calendar rolls around, you feel it coming, and you feel it. And you're like, okay, how will I be this year at this time? And my mom's, the anniversary of her transition was this weekend. And as it was coming forward this weekend, I was noticing myself. How am I with it today? And what I want to say is, in the throes of the suddenness that things happen, when things happen in our life, we go through the various stages of grief. The anger, the frustration, the bargaining, like, this isn't happening. This can't be what's occurring. And yet, as I look at myself through the years, I see the brilliant blessings in the curriculum that I was given to journey. Now, I can stand up close and personal with people navigating things. When people are going through something heavy, I can be centered and grounded because I also, in a space of empathy, know what that feels like. I can step into that space and feel that sorrow, feel that pain. A student was asking me something about empathy at some point in the last few years and saying, you know, is that really that I'm getting into their shoes? But someone came to me the other day and said they lost everything in a house fire. Everything, and they were displaced for a while. And she said, there's no way I don't want to have a conversation because I've never experienced that. And I said, let's not put ourselves into the story, but do you know loss? She said, yes. I said, be with her in the loss. It's not that the experience of the house being lost is that, but she said, oh yeah, I lost my mom. And I said, so it hurts. So are they hurting? Are they displaced? Is there a need for safety, stability not being met right now? Yes. There you go. Does that make sense? So sometimes we are challenged by navigating how to be with someone. And you know, especially in loss, some people will stay further away from someone that's going through loss because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't have the words. So they kind of walk in a big circle. Anyone experience people kind of staying distant when you're going through the greatest loss? Some people rush in and other people will go a little more distant. So I share that with you this morning because it was on my mind, and this week has been a heavy week for many people, and I've talked to so many people that are navigating the heaviness, and I've also talked to people that are in this celebratory place too. And I don't want to say it doesn't matter where I am personally, but in a place of service, I want to be with all people, and I want to be in conversation, and I want to understand. I really want to understand your story and where you're coming from. And I think that's a really hard place to navigate sometimes, because it's head and heart in balance. I was reading the scripture from, without going into the whole story, those of you will recognize Jesus being called to the place of Lazarus. Lazarus has passed, and he got the news. He's not there, but he's got the news. And so he's called to this space. Now, this is a dear friend. This is a deep, deep friend. And the pain and the sadness, knowing that Jesus is navigating human and divine, the sorrowful moment. And it's written that with a tear-stained face, he stood before the tomb when he arrived. And he did something that's not done. For those of you that remember the story, he said, roll away the stone. Who does that? So there was a tenseness among the people. And he rolled away the stone, and then his words were this in his grief. Father, thank you not words that you might expect in the midst of loss and grief and pain and sorrow. Father, thank you. So his Abba relationship, the daddy relationship, the God, the divine, is not a message of an out there, but a lifting up of my highest self knows the blessing here, because I know why I'm called. I know who I am and on my purpose. But yet the gasp from the people needed to see something strong and something more in that moment. Is that making a sense there? So sometimes we show up in some of our worst storylines. Cranky might show up. Cranky shows up for me. I don't know about you. Cranky ever show up in the head and you're like, really? Really, is that happening? But yet I'm called to recognize the teacher there and go, what is that about? What deeper dive can I do in that story? People say oftentimes, how can I have gratitude and be in thankfulness in the midst of pain? Because when it hurts, it hurts. And I say, feel the pain, feel the feelings, but be open and receptive, because that's one of the key words for me. The words my mother said to me as a little child when I would be complaining about something, she goes, be open, be receptive. Well, I don't want to be. I don't want to be open and receptive, right? And then later in life, my spiritual teacher would often say, open and receptive. Some of the great tragedies that's happened in our world that in my life as a spiritual student would happen, and I would go, open and receptive. I'm open and receptive to see what curriculum is being given for me to learn and to navigate right now. So I invite you to continue with that open and receptive statement, because what I've noticed is the hidden teacher shows up. Now notice this. When you're going through a storyline, and it's not a good one, it's one that you're just like fighting what this looks like. And when you center, Reverend Barbara, you get this one. When you center in that, and you breathe into that, suddenly there might be lyrics that come on. Suddenly you might see a sign on the freeway that's like, oh. You might get a text or a message from someone you haven't heard from a while, and suddenly you're shifted into a new space. So be open to, as Donna said in prayer, the detours. You've all heard me as I've traveled back and forth from Dallas talk about arguing with the navigation system. You've heard this from me before, haven't you? Anyone heard that from me before? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you again. It happened again. Her voice comes on, and I know 45, and I know the direction that I'm going, and yet she's actually sending me somewhere else. I'm like, but that's going to be a longer route. So she's going to say, as soon as you can, do a U-turn. No, because it's that way. But do you know, when I trust that navigation system, it is correct. It'll take me through a city that I've never seen, and a town I've never seen, and sometimes places that I've never discovered, because I'm doing my route, right? I'm in my routine. So I'm learning to trust the navigation system. I tell you, it's something. Troy's riding with me a lot, and he's like, but she clearly says at the light, turn right, and I'm like, she doesn't know. He's like, but it's there. And I said, well, look on the screen when you can scroll and see what's ahead. And it's doing all this wiggly stuff, I call it. And I said, yeah, but it's that way. Okay, there might be a big accident, right? There may be construction. So you don't have to admit it. But have you ever argued with a navigation system? Anybody want to be brave enough and show their hands? Yeah. Come on. Because I'm not the only one that does that. Trust the journey. I love this. Students will say this so often, but this and this and this and this and this is happening, and I say, trust the process, trust the journey, trust the process, trust the journey. Yeah, but. I'm like, not the yeah, but. Trust the process, trust the journey. We are all collectively in a process. And our work, I would say, in the value of unity. Yes, we're called unity. In many cities, it's by the designation of the city. Unity is an organization. Unity is a church, a spiritual community. But I say unity is a value. We are called to unity because our work for the collective consciousness is continuing. And sometimes it gets heavier. Sometimes it's more. But it's not when we go away and we just say, okay, I'm done. No, you keep doing your work. We're never finished. We don't get, I had a professor in seminary that would say, you might think you're getting to the mountaintop and get the trophy and go home, but you're not. You're at the summit. And I loved that, and I'll never forget him saying that, because we get to these places and we can exhale, absolutely exhale, and then it's time to go to work again. It's time to feel the feelings. Something this week we had, this past week we had our international conference with the Interim Ministry Network. A beautiful keynote speaker. And she wrote something beautiful, and I want to share that with you. I am beautiful, beloved, and worthy. Say that with me. I am beautiful, beloved, and worthy. And as she shared that, people were navigating all sorts of stories. When we did breakout sessions, there were people in the U.S. that were talking about the elections. But it was international. There were people that were talking about things that they heard out their back door, the sounds of war. So the perspective shifted in the conference to where we really need to come together in a much, much broader way. And so I began to speak about the value of unity. And she said, I am beautiful, beloved, and worthy. I am beautiful, beloved, and worthy. And what I realized the message was there is sometimes we get into our strategies of how to fix it, solve it, correct it, change it. But yet if we remember that I am beautiful, beloved, and worthy, we can remember that I can hold my shoulders up, I can take that breath, and I can move forward each day. Have you felt heavy this week, anybody? Have you had any heaviness? Yeah, a lot of people. And we take our time there for self-care. We take our breath. And we know with change, there's work to do. We don't stop our work, do we? You just sang about it, didn't you? A train's coming to Dallas. I didn't know about trains in Dallas, though. But I do like that idea. Is there trains in Dallas? Passenger? You didn't just see that surprise. Our dog Maggie, she does that when she sees a new toy. She does that thing. Sorry, just went off there for a minute seeing our standard poodle. She's a puppy, and she's just like, the world is new. Look through the eyes of your pets, right? Squeaks too, wow. There's a story I've shared before. I want to share it again because it illustrates the gratitude of the heart, the thankfulness of the heart. And you've probably heard it before, maybe. A 6-year-old boy lives next door to an older couple. Their porches are pretty close together where you can see over at the porch. And what he knows at 6 years old is his wife has made her transition. She's passed. The services have happened. And they always sit on the front porch. He would go over and visit on a regular basis. She would talk about recipes and pies, and he would tell old stories. But the little boy hadn't gone over lately because it's just the older man sitting alone on the porch. Well, I don't know what to do. So he asked his mom, he said, I'm going to go over there. She said, oh, don't bother him right now. He's going through some stuff. Well, at 6, he's like, I know she's gone, but I don't understand the stuff. She said, well, if you want to go over there, go over, but don't stay too long. So the little boy goes over there, and Mom checks out the window a few times, and he's over there quite a while, and the little boy comes up to the porch, and what he typically did is he leaped up in the man's lap. And the man did this, and the little boy got in his lap, and Mom kept checking out the window, and they'd been over there for a while just talking and talking. Some time went by, Mom kept looking, he didn't come home, and over an hour went by, and the little boy came running through the house. But before he did, he left the porch, and he looked at the older man, and he said, thank you. And the old man looked and he said, thank me? For what? All I've done is sat here and told you stories and cried. And the little boy said, but you showed me what love looks like. The greatest lesson for this little guy's life. So he goes home and he runs through the door, about to move on to his next adventure. Mom says, wait. You were over there a long time. What did you talk about? Nothing, as a kid would do. Nothing, Mom. You were over there a long time. What did you talk about? What did he share? And he said, Mom, he just showed me what love looks like, and I love you. But Mom heard it in a different way because the little boy was shifted and changed. And I'll bet you that little boy's life would be different because of learning that lesson, to sit with someone in their grief, sit with another generation and hear the stories. Sometimes we stay distant from that because we don't know what to do. But the little boy sat on his lap and listened. And he was able to unpack and tell stories. Whatever those stories were, he learned what love looks like. Sometimes I think one of our biggest pieces of curriculum is keeping it simple. We try to overcomplicate it, make it too big. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, I love this statement that he made. I carry it with me and all the time in my practice. Having an attitude of gratitude announces the realization that we are in heaven. Having an attitude of gratitude announces the realization that we are in heaven. So, think with me for a moment. If I'm in a space of gratitude, as I am right now with you, look around. It's pretty beautiful. So when you're in those grateful moments, you know those moments where it's perfect weather, sky's blue, and you breathe, and you're in that space of gratitude? Heaven! I'm not waiting for the after party. It's a right now experience. Are you with me? Right here, right now. Thank you, Charles Fillmore, for that. And Reverend Barbara created a theme for this month, and I really appreciate that, the science and spirituality. And I was able to look at some things that I knew, but I want to share with those with you today. Brain health. When we are in our regular practice of gratitude, it releases serotonin and dopamine. It's a happiness boost that creates a new perspective for our lives. Natural medicine, natural gratitude, all the time. Now, some people might say, yeah, but, and I say, set the app on your phone to remind you each day to have that moment. Put an alarm on. It's kind of like, for me, I've been picking up my walks again lately, and I'm okay. Why am I admitting so much today? I don't understand something. So I like my walking practice. It used to be the jog, but now it's a walk. And when the summer is gone and the fall comes, I kind of pick up the pace and do 3 miles, 4 miles a day. But some days I'm just like, You ever do that? Treadmill or go to the gym, you're like, So it's the same thing with the practice of a muscle. It's rewiring our brain to have a practice of gratitude. So whatever's going on, have that alarm on your phone. Have that reminder go off so you can think about what you're grateful for in this moment. Later in the service, when we do offering or we come forward with our prayer request, use the paper in front of you to write 1 or 2 or 3 things down that you're grateful for, because it does something. You're thinking it, you're action stepping, writing it, and if you're able, you're walking forward and you're placing it. So there's action involved that's rewiring who you are right now. Physical benefits. Gratitude improves heart health, immune function, and longevity. Yay, longevity. We are designed to benefit from a grateful heart. Mental health. Now, this has been out for a really long time, that mental health, it will create less anxiety and depression and shift us from negatives into seeing blessings. Agree? We have to practice. Relational health. Creating community. People joining in community like you are today is a healthy experience for everything that we do. And spiritual growth, this is interesting. Scientists have recognized that gratitude is universal, found across all cultures, and this points to it being a divine trait. They called it a God trait, a divine trait, a universal trait that draws us closer to the Creator and original goodness of creation. And so, as Sandra mentioned, my new book is about the nature, the gratitude, the flowers, the ocean, the forest, the trees, the butterflies. And when I'm in that, I'm a part of that. Does that make sense? You are one with that. And it's a beautiful thing. And it says, grateful people create an upward spiral of happiness for everyone. So it's our work to do. When we are in our grateful heart, we are not only lifting ourselves, but we're lifting the collective consciousness. Eckhart Tolle wrote, and I love this, it's through gratitude for each present moment, back to the presence, that a spiritual dimension of life opens up. It's like a portal we can step into, a different style of reality, of living and being in the world. Have you ever been in the grocery store? You've all been in the grocery store. Don't start that way. When you've been in the grocery store and you've noticed the person that is just oddly joyful, or is that you? Is that you? Are you, Rita? You walk through the grocery store and just do you really? And so you get people kind of doing this, the side eye. What's she so happy about? Yeah, I don't want to, and Troy will say oftentimes, don't grow up to be that man on the front porch and say, get out of the yard, kids. I can be that, though. No, we are in the practice of being those grateful people and moving through every moment with a grateful heart. Myrtle Fillmore, I have to share this because Myrtle's my girl, co-founder of Unity. Charles gets a lot of credit, but it's Myrtle. Just going to really say it one more time. Myrtle's healing journey, for those of you that know it, and those that may not have ever heard it before, she healed herself. This is a time of tuberculosis. Death was in front of her. And she heard the words, I am a child of God, therefore I do not inherit sickness. Shifted her thinking, and she began to go blessing her body with affirmations every single day. She didn't do it for a moment and, she did it every day, every moment. She blessed every cell in her body from head to toe, thanking it for its wonderful work. Not what people told her, not what she grew up hearing as a child, you're a sickly little girl. No, she's strong and empowered. And she began blessing her body, every cell. And she began to believe that and was completely healed at a time that wasn't the story. And I like to say that Charles Fillmore is watching his wife going, I need to write this down. Which brings us a lot of our Unity text. Our first duty, she wrote, is to bless our body and praise its wonderful work, to learn what its needs are and supply them. Gratitude is a choice. It's one choice that we have. And it's a practice. Keep a journal, keep an app, get a friend, a gratitude partner, have an app. Change the cranky self-talk when it comes up. That's what Myrtle did. She defeated the self-talk and changed her story by what she thought of herself. And therefore, we're in this space right now at Unity on Greenville in Dallas, Texas, because of Myrtle's story and what she did. Unity was birthed out of that story. What a beautiful thing. Even if you're here for the very first time in this space, you're here because of someone's journey, because of their grateful heart. Isn't that beautiful? I'll share this as I close, as I always like to do. I want to remind you that you matter. Place your hands over your heart if you're comfortable. You matter. Each one of you in this world and what we do, you matter. And you are sacred. Do you know you're sacred? If you don't, I'm reminding you. And if you haven't heard it today, you're going to hear it right now. All eyes, I want to see all eyes. You are loved. Amen? Amen. Thank you so much. It's so grateful to be back with you.